What's going on, guys? It's your girl, Michel Rose, and today I'm here at Iconix Radio, and we have an amazing, just an outstanding, multi-talented performer, artist, 2-time Grammy nominated, all the way from Los Angeles, California. The one and only, Mr. Derrick Cobb. What's up, G?
What's going on, Rosie? How are you? Hi, everyone out there. So I currently live in California, but I'm originally from New York. I'm from Brooklyn.
Come on, BK, stand up. Let's go. Let's go.
It's so funny because like New Yorkers are very prideful on that we're from New York, right? It's very like.
Listen, correct that.
Right, like your borough is a badge of honor. Like I'm from the borough. No, I'm from Brooklyn.
Listen. I love it. So you're originally from, and that's very interesting because we have so many amazing artists that came that are like everything is damn near birthed out of New York, almost.
Yes.
But stars are really born out of New York, so I'm really not surprised. BK to be exact, right?
Right. Yes. I mean, we're talking the home of Jay-Z, Biggie, Lil Kim, Nas, DMX, LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Nicki Minaj. Now Fabio Foreign is coming up in the game. Remy Martin, Fat Joe. It's like Mary J. Blige.
B Cobb. I'm just saying. Look, Derrick Cobb. I'm just saying. Look.
Mary J. Blige. Swizz Beatz.
Yes.
Swizz Beatz and my dad went to the same high school, which is so crazy. They went to the same high school for like a short period of time. Or even one of my drama teachers in high school, she was classmates with Sarah Jessica Parker. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So New York is really kind of like, it's growing up in New York is interesting in that way because you really kind of get to meet like all these different, like you see a lot of famous people who don't really realize they're going to be famous because to them they're just being like a New Yorker. They're doing a day-to-day thing. In LA is kind of different. I think that it's Hollywood, so everyone is always like, oh my gosh.
How long have you been in LA right now? How long have you been there now?
It's been 2 years. So I spent here in the pandemic, yeah.
Now, what?
Yeah.
Talk about perfect timing.
I moved here in May of 2019 for school, and then 2020 came, 8 months later, and world stopped, and so
right.
It's been very interesting.
But one thing about it, the world stopped, but you kept moving, honey. You were working. You were getting it in. Congratulations on everything that you've done. You are a singer, songwriter, entertainer, model, brand ambassador, 2-time Grammy nominated. I mean, the list continues to grow for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I feel like whenever I hear back like that, it sounds like it's so much, but I always try to make sure that it always kind of goes hand in hand.
Right.
And, I think that honestly, I feel like I was on your Instagram page and I feel like everything that you said you do. And I feel like, us as Black artists, we have to be more than a one trick. Like we don't have the luxury of just being good at one thing. Like that's not feasible for us.
So true.
We don't have the luxury of Beyonce can't just sing. She gotta flip off a box. She gotta bust out or it's gonna be like the standard is held high, for Black artists. And I think because that is our history, we really have come to just tap in with that. But at the same time, what makes it so beautiful is that we are good at all those things. Like we know how to do those things at the same time.
Yeah.
So when I see other Black artists, I know they can sing. I know they can dance. I know they can write. It's just a given. It's even in our own community. It's the standard, right? You have to be a performer. You have to be an entertainer, even amongst the Black community. Like you cannot be on nobody's stage standing there bored. Like people want to be entertained. They want you to sing and do all that stuff.
Because you know what they're gonna do. You may get a couple of shoes thrown at you if you're hitting the right notes, but other than that, they're gonna sit right back down. And I love that about you because watching you perform is very, very It's crazy because you are so into your performing. You're singing, you're dancing. You also do you do your own choreography? Because I thought I saw you doing your own moves.
Yeah, it depends on exactly what we are kind of aiming for.
Okay.
It kind of depends. Normally, I work with a choreographer.
Okay.
I try to, whenever I do like a big show, I try to work with two choreographers to kind of give it different styles and different textures with performance, you know. But I do have moments where I'll step in and say, hey, I think I want to do it like this or do it like that, or it's put in the performance that to give me a solo bit to kind of freestyle and do my thing, which I really like the most because you kind of really get to just have that. I call it being at home in the mirror moment where you're, when you're a kid and you're in the mirror with the hairbrush and you're doing your Michael Jackson and you're doing all that. Like so I kind of like that. So we definitely try to what I call schedule it in the performance where I have a moment like that. And also the dancers need a break.
Your dancers be working, and you be ready. You still be getting it. I mean, your hair be swinging, honey. Those abs, that body is right. Listen, you are killing it. I love it. So who influences you to do music?
Honestly, this is gonna sound so crazy. Everyone thinks that I'm King Beehive, right? Everyone thinks I'm King Beyonce. It was Prince, and it was my father. He was a huge Prince fan, and I remember, my father was a street guy growing up, and so he would sneak and play Prince in the car.
What? Wait a minute. What'd you say, Pop? Your pops was a little gangster, but he sure had Purple Rain on by 12. Look.
Right, like literally. And so he would play for me he would just play like that particular album all the time. And I remember Prince, when he was going through, like, my first recollection of Prince was him going through like the name change situation when he was, he was fighting for his rights from the record company. And I had to be 3 or 4, but I remember watching a performance in New York City. He was at Webster Hall. I'll never forget. And my dad took me and I saw him do I Would Die For You live. And that's when I kind of knew like I wanted to be an artist. Like that was the moment for me. And granted, and as a kid, you really don't, and this is pre-social media we're talking, right? So we're talking like the late 90s. You really don't have an understanding of what celebrity is until you see it in real time. You watch TV, you watch this, but you don't really know, you don't really understand what that is as a child at that time.
That's true.
Because back then our parents were controlling what we watched. You know what I mean?
Come on.
You didn't have an understanding of who a superstar was. So, for me, it was Prince. That was like the first time I ever really said, okay, yes, I'm going to do this.
Wow. So that's so beautiful just to hear that your father played such a major role in taking you to see Prince. And then you look up and like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Now, look at you. Like, watching you on stage, looking at like your videos, your virtual show. Oh my God. Let's talk about that. What was it like putting what's the name of that project?
My virtual show, the visual experience.
Yeah.
So what happened was, during 2020, I put out Savage AF late 2019, and we were going to shoot a video like the week of the pandemic, but that didn't happen. And so, I was, like most artists were doing, everyone's trying to stay busy and keep their footing and, that buzz going. So I put out 3 to 4 singles in 2020. So when 2021 came, I asked the producer that I'm working with over at Atlantic, I was like, hey, I need 10 grand to shoot a music video. And she called me back and said, well, they only giving you 5.
Okay.
Okay. Because I was going to do 4 separate, like I wanted to shoot 4 different music videos. But then I kind of was like, it'd be cool to do a visual concept to a live show. because I normally do when I do a performance, especially if I'm in a place where people aren't familiar with my work. I love to do a medley of my songs to show range, to show genre change.
Yes.
I think to kind of give the audience hints of some of this, some of that, some of that, so they're excited about when they go to hear the stuff on their own. Then I remember when he did a snippet of this song and that song and introduced them to the different sounds. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of bring that into a music and put it in music video format. Honestly, you know what I mean? Like I get all 4 songs in. The fans, my supporters, I hate the word fans, sorry. My support, the people who support and ride for me. Yeah. They get the visuals that they've been missing that they didn't get in 2021. And also too, it was kind of nice to not, it was kind of, honestly, it was kind of really cool to kind of do minis because I feel like you kind of really, I got to focus on the parts that really tell the story of the song, like the meat and the potatoes of certain records. And we shot all that in a day.
What?
We shot that.
Listen, that virtual experience was amazing. That was so great. I enjoyed every different set. I enjoyed the dancers. Like, I brought my people with me. I'm like, wait a minute, what's about to happen? The sound, so many different genres in that entire project. So let's talk about your sound. How do you describe your sound?
I describe my sound as urban pop, right?
Okay.
I think that when you're a Black artist, you automatically get put in R&B and hip hop categories. And I hate to, call out the Academy, but we got to keep it real. Like Lizzo, is a pop artist. Why is she always in the R&B categories when she's intentionally making pop records? And so is Doja Cat. You know what I mean? But because they're Black women, it's all of that is R&B, and I love what they're doing in the space. But I don't think that Doja Cat and Lizzo should be in the same category with Ari Lennox and Jasmine Sullivan.
Right.
Love all 4 of the girls. We love all 4 of them. Dope as fuck, right? Dope as fuck. They just make 2 different styles of music.
And diversity is diversity, and the category is a category.
Right. Even if we're Black, we're still, and this is the beautiful part. We still know how to bring different sounds of music. That's what we do. Like that's the beauty in it. So recognize that. So for me, I grew up listening to a lot of Usher, Beyonce, Sierra, Chris Brown. Yeah. And I'm like, they make these great dance records, but no one kind of knows. No one really knows what to call it. So I was talking to a friend of mine in New York, and she's like, it's like pop but urban. And I was like, oh, we should call that a genre, urban pop, kind of like how we dubbed hip hop soul a genre, a subgenre of R&B. Right. So that's kind of how I would describe my sound. So I'm from the street, so it's gonna be gritty, it's gonna be aggressive, but I'm a dancer at heart, so it still has to be up tempo. If I don't start moving naturally to a record, I don't record it.
I'm not listening, and I saw that. What do you feel is missing in the music industry right now?
Honestly, what's missing, if I had to put my exact opinion on what's missing, I think what's missing is budget. We're seeing a lot of artists cut corners, and not because they want to, they're kind of forced to. Right. In a way, right? I think, finding the money is harder now than it was then. Back then a label would take a chance on you. They could afford the risk. They would give you $50, $60, $70 to do a demo just to see if you was going to, like just to. Right. Like, remember those first set of Destiny's Child records weren't working. Beyonce's first solo records weren't hitting.
What's so very interesting about that? No, it's true. Because I remember I was telling my husband a while back, I remember seeing Destiny's Child for the very first time at Fun Day in the Park in Houston, Texas. I don't know if you're familiar with Fun Day in the Park, but it's when they would have like a big festival, and they had just broke out with, I'm talking about like Destiny, it was like 5 of them, okay? But they had just broke out with Killing Time, and it was a soundtrack on Independence Day. And I'll never forget, huh?
That was like 97, 98, right?
Yes. And when I kid you not, I'll never forget hearing them, seeing them on stage. And I'm like, wow, you know, these girls are great, like amazing. They ended up on the basketball court. I'm sorry, Beyonce. I love you, girl. I love all y'all. But they were on the basketball court, and this was in the very beginning. And when you're talking about budget, I just go back to that time where I'm like, yo, Matthew knows, Tina knows, we're grinding out of their pockets.
They were paying for all of that.
All of that. And it's just crazy just to be able to reflect at that time, because it's like, you know, I go back and I'm like, wow, that was Beyonce. You know, so budget is very important for independent artists. So I think that's
yeah, because honestly, because it's not that, you know, I think what I hear a lot is, oh, the music isn't good. It's not that it's not great. No one has the money to do what they really want to do creatively. So they have to make these kind of, you know, commercial TikTok sounding records just to keep the buzz up, and hopefully use that as a way to find a funding or a tour sponsor. You know, and now with Instagram partnerships and brand ambassadors, and like, you know, people just trying to find ways to be sustainable, especially because we all know this. But you know, if y'all thought artists wasn't making money in the 90s,
no, listen. What is that? Welcome to 2022, baby. Listen, boy, the grind is serious. Go ahead.
If the people knew what we get per stream, they would hit the fucking floor. Like their jaws would drop to the floor. If people knew how much money Spotify and Apple and all the services make, and no disrespect to them, you know, people will hit the floor, and most people aren't aware, but a lot of us still are not protected by law for any of the work that we do, how we distribute it, how we get it out there. Like we still, people, the public would be very, very surprised. And you're an artist, so you know this. Yes. The laws really don't we can fight till the cows come home. The laws have not changed since the 1950s.
Right.
At all.
Right. But I will say this. Shout out to Music Cares. Shout out to, you know, the unions that are out there for independent artists such as ourselves. Shout out to the Recording Academy. And let's really talk about this. The Grammys. Now, Grammy 2022, and you're there. You were fly, honey. The black and gold was lit. Yes.
Thank you.
So what was your favorite performance?
Honestly, my favorite performance.
What is it? Come on.
I have to say it, and I love you, Nas X. I do. I think you are amazing. But it was her and Lenny Kravitz.
What? Yo. Listen.
It was my favorite. It was my favorite. I mean, honestly, I think Silk Sonic, like Bruno and Anderson do what they do, right? That's what they do.
They performed all night. Like it was.
Like, they cocky, they're arrogant. Like that's their energy in the best way. You see it in the best way, right?
Yes. In
the best way, you know. Yes. Very sure of themselves, you know.
But the Lenny Kravitz and her were perfect.
Were amazing. Lil Nas X did what I would expect him to do, like great performance, great style choreography, great costume changes. He did everything what I expected him to do. I think for her, it was kind of like, it felt kind of nostalgic in a way to kind of get some of that, you know, it reminded me of like the 90s and like the MTV VMA.
That music, like,
and, like, you know, like the live guitars, and, you know, she's such a young artist. And to have her, like, she can really stand next to a Travis Barker or a Lenny Kravitz and hold her own as a young Black woman, I thought was just phenomenal. Like to me, it was just like she's really holding down the space in R&B, blending rock, you know, getting, once again, showing that diversity that Black artists bring to music.
Yes,
you know, like, she did all that in one performance, so that was probably my favorite performance of the night.
Yes, I will say shout out to John Baptiste.
Yes, he killed it. I missed his performance. I was watching it in the bathroom line.
No. What? Okay. We gonna say that for after the interview, because we're gonna talk about that. But
no, because
what?
But let me tell you real quick though, because I when we met in line, right?
Yeah.
They gave me the wrong credentials. I was a Grammy U member. You know, I was in school. So when I became a professional member, they had the system tricky, so they gave me the wrong ticket. So when I got there, I was supposed to have been on the lower level in the nominee section, but
because they moved you down.
Remember, they moved me down, right? So the thing is that I had, but when it's on air, you can't move.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to move during commercial break, which it isn't long. It's only a couple of minutes. So you're like, and then you have to kind of stay there the whole way, or like and every time you go to a different level, they need to verify your credentials. So it took me about an hour and a half to get downstairs.
What? Oh man.
It was taking so long.
Oh my God. But it was so much fun. It was a beautiful experience, and we got a chance to meet, and I'm so glad that we did. I've been really watching your career and just seeing all the hard work that you've been doing, which also brings me to my next question. What artists and producers are you looking forward to working with?
This is a very interesting question because I remember the first time I went into Atlantic, I saw Missy and Timbaland, and I said to my friend, mind you, she wasn't even working it yet. She was just interning at the time.
Wow.
Right? And her boss, he just got hired. And like we were just like hanging out. And it was Missy, Elliott, Timbaland, and Ed Sheeran were in like a separate room.
Ed Sheeran, oh wow.
Right? And shout out to White Boy Can Write. The boy can write a fucking record. I'm gonna give him that. The boy can write a song. Let's just keep it all the way real, right? The boy can write a record. And so I remember asking my friend's boss, his name was Ron, I was like, hey, how much would it cost for like a Timbaland production? Like, would the artist pay? And he was like, what I tell new artists all the time? Never borrow from the label what you can't pay back out of your pocket immediately. So my answer would be, you got Timbaland money?
Right?
Money? So I think in hindsight, honestly, I would work with a producer, because I have a producer. Her name is Ebony Smith, and she's, Grammy winning, Atlantic recording artist, Cardi B, Hamilton, Jason Mraz,
wow,
Esmeralda Spalding, Charlie XCX. Like her resume is hella impressive.
Right.
But then my friend Don P, he's in Atlanta. I mean, he's the boy selling his beats online for $50, and the quality is just as great.
Right.
It was his production that got style and song that got the Grammy nomination.
Right.
The record that he produced. You know what I mean? So for me, I think that producers, we just got to match up our sounds, because I think getting a big producer doesn't mean you're going to have a big hit record.
That's true.
Because I think what people don't understand is that artists hire different producers because different producers have different signatures.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
So, everything Timbaland touch doesn't go platinum. Everything Swizzy touch doesn't go platinum. It's unrealistic in that way. I think, in the future, I would love to work with up and coming producers as well as, and making them collab with bigger producers.
And that's really what it's about. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so with the new stuff, I'm working with my girl from Atlantic, but my guy Dennis did my first EP back in 2016, 2017. And I'm like, listen, we're going to do an album. I need half of her and half of you. And I told them that. And she was like, I love that idea. Bring them in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
let's do it.
So for me, it's really about that. I mean, I think that for any artist and any producer, no matter how big, quote unquote, you think they are, I think that's so subjective, because just because you're successful in music doesn't mean that you're the most talented person. Some people just have a je ne sais quoi, they have certain connections.
The right team, right, correct.
Just certain things, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I always tell artists, make sure you find a producer that knows you. Right. And when I say know you, they know you. They know your day to day. Whenever I record with Dennis or with Ebony, we'll always book out the studio for maybe 10 to 12 hours at a time. And we spend half the session just me running my mouth. This is what's going on. I'm doing this. And, and then they'll start creating and crafting the records around the conversation. I don't go in the studio with preset beats. That's not my thing. Like, I want to build this thing from the ground up. I want it to be so authentic to me that no other artist could do this type of song or this record. You know what I mean? Like, I think to me, it just feels much more raw. And also, as an artist, you hear things because you're going to be singing or rapping that a producer might not hear initially. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I think standing in the room with them, helping them, guiding them with the melody, makes it a better production, in my opinion.
I love that. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
5 years? That's fast. Damn.
You say that's I mean, because I know that you're with your label. You were Grammy U, but now you're a Grammy Recording Academy professional member. So everything is just going up for you. And I know you're working on a lot of projects right now. So in the next 5 years, what you got?
Hopefully I'll be touring in at least 1 or 2 successful, records or albums. I want to be touring more. I love performing more than anything. I feel like that would be the better thing. Hopefully I'm gonna just put it out there. I want to start a fashion line. That'd be really cool. And I would also love to open up a homeless youth shelter for struggling LGBTQI, youth. That's important to me. I'd love to be able to start a performing arts camp for those kids who don't get access to training and dancing and singing and piano and instruments and stuff. I just feel like, with all the music programs, I mean, we're lucky because we got to experience that in public school.
Right. Thank God for the 90s. Listen.
It's crazy to me now because like you meet these kids. I remember and back then we probably didn't realize it, but I remember looking in the band room and fucking throwing the trumpet across the hallway, and now kids don't even know what a trumpet looks like or feel. They have no idea what that is.
That's true. Now, okay, and that's another good question. Do you play any instruments?
No, I don't. I was in my middle school band for 2 months, but I only did it because
2 months.
I only did it because we were going to Niagara Falls to do some performance, and I was adamant about. All my friends were going, and I was like,
"What you saying? This is on my bucket list. I might as well do it now while I'm in school."
But I was like, let's just do it, and I honestly, but my I wasn't being in the horn section was kind of fun because I wasn't that good, so I could kind of fake it a little bit while everyone else was they were rehearsing for months.
Yeah.
And then,
you got that trip. That's the only thing that matters. You got that trip.
And it's school, so they can't say no. They can't tell you can't participate.
Listen, I love that. So I know that we have Savage AF that's out, and a few more other projects that you have. What do you have that's in the works right now that we can look forward to?
So my single Troublemaker is out now.
Yay!
It's a fun song. Actually, I start rehearsing for the music video on Thursday.
Nice.
We start dance rehearsal this Thursday. It's a 5-hour rehearsal, so it's going to be very interesting.
Listen, I've seen your show, so I know you putting in that work. And like I said, we're preparing to go on tour this summer, late summer, early fall of this year, which is going to be super exciting. And finishing up my album is priority. I will say, as far as the tour is concerned and goes, the dates are going to change again, but it's my fault. So everyone who knows it's my fault. It's no one else's fault. Fans, don't calm down. It's coming.
I don't want to tour without an album. I think it's pointless.
Right.
I don't want to hit this. I don't want people to come see my show and don't have something to obtain immediately.
Right.
I would like the album to be finished. We may or may not be shooting a documentary. That's been brought up in conversation. It just depends on,
it's in the works. It's definitely in the works.
Yeah, something. But I kind of feel I think documentaries are so subjective because I kind of feel I feel like people, I don't want to not be honest. And I think when you're telling your story, you have to be mindful that there are other people a part of your story who might not be happy with, what you might say.
Right. For sure.
And I need to find a way to make sure that I don't offend anyone, but still tell, things.
Tell your truth. It's definitely about you telling your truth.
It happened.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I hear that loud and clear. So your team, let's give a big shout out to your team because they definitely got you out here getting it in. Who's on the squad?
So on the squad is my writing partner. Her name is Ebony Allen. Then I have my producer. Her name is Ebony Smith. Crystal Alfred is my tour manager slash business manager. Darian, Cassandra, and Taisha are choreographers and stage show directors.
Awesome.
Who do we have? My boy Alfredo is stylist, costume designer extraordinary. I love him so much. Like every designer he works for, he always books me a job with them.
Wow. Booked and busy. Come on, let's go.
No, he'll work with somebody really famous. He'll be like, oh fuck them, like leave and go work with somebody. He's like,
we ain't gonna tell nobody else. Look,
right. But in fashion, stylists have a lot of power. A good stylist, they have a lot of. Just so y'all know, this it's not the models, it's not the stylists are the ones with the power. They have so much fucking power. It's amazing. And then who else do we have? Oh, my girl Nicole, she does all of my like cover art stuff. She's really, really great. And then my boy Tyler, he works at Spotify, which and big shout out to him, helped me negotiate my first billboard in Times Square in New York.
Nice.
Big up to Tyler for that. I love you, bro, if you're watching this. I know you will watch it, but I wanted to say I love you so much. We've known each other since we were 6 years old.
Oh, wow. Come on. Shout out to the entire team, everyone that is definitely pushing you to be your greatest because you are so talented.
Oh, and my photographer, Randy Childs, like she is amazing. She was one of them when I first started modeling. She was the first photographer that I worked with. And she would always book me jobs even outside of like the agency that I was with. So big up to Randy. She does all my photography stuff. She is amazing. She did billboard stuff, all the promo stuff you guys see. That's all her photography. So shout out to her as well.
Love it. The entire team. Okay. Leave not one stone unturned. Where can people find you and find your music?
So I'm on all the major platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal. If you guys haven't used Tidal Hi-Fi, they give it like a 7-day trial or something like that.
You better promote.
Really good.
Listen, and we're gonna need that check for that too, okay?
Right. I'm on Deezer. You can also hear me on iHeartRadio, Sirius XM Radio as well as Pandora Radio. We're doing really, really well on Pandora. So shout out to everyone over there who's been like listening. I appreciate it very much. My website is dcobbnow.com. My Instagram and all my social platforms would be d_Cobb, COBB. And if you guys ever see me on the street or you want to come and hang out with me on social media, let me know. Like I really love meeting people. This one girl was with her boyfriend and she was like, "Can we go live with you?" I was like, "Sure." And like we talked. I like that. No, I love it. I think it's dope. I honestly, Rosie, I'm learning that the more we talk to each other, the more those barriers get broken down. Because like society would have you thinking like, damn, like I have a lot in common with this person. Why do you tell me I should hate them? I'm confused.
That's true. That's so true. That's so true.
Like, they actually sweet as fuck. And even funny, back to the funny story, I sat next to Shaggy at the Grammys.
Oh.
And at first, I didn't really know who he was because he wasn't all dressed up. He was just, visiting like everybody else.
Right.
He was talking and laughing, and like we liked a lot of the same music. We were like had like a lot of the same designers. We knew some of the same people, and it was like I didn't realize it was him until like toward the end, and we exchanged Instagrams. And I was like, oh, this is crazy because you would never, we're talking about a reggae superstar, like really the first iconic.
Yes, one of the originals. Yes.
Before Sean Paul even, it was Shaggy. You know what I mean? Like
that's so true.
Right on that cusp. And you would think like I would have nothing in common with a 10 million album selling artist. And here we are, looking for cheap Ubers to get to the after parties. So it's like,
well, listen.
So, it was just that simple of a conversation.
That common, yeah.
Right, like Jason Lee. I ran into him and Tiffany Haddish and at the bathroom, and I didn't get the chance to speak to her. But he has that persona of being his public the YouTuber that's messy and shady.
Right.
And we were talking, and I thought he was sweet as fucking pie. He bought me a drink, gave me a hug. He was so kind. Like, he was really sweet. I'm like, oh wow.
Wow.
It's like, once again, it's like having conversation will just allow you to see someone, even if you don't always agree with their thinking or what they do.
Right.
For me, it's about if I can understand someone, I can deal with it and process it a lot better.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I love that. You have really been so insightful, and you've been really advocating on a lot of major issues. And I want to say thank you for that. I mean, seriously, because a lot of artists are afraid to be able to advocate for what they feel they should stand up for. And that's important for us all. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, we have to advocate. I feel like the problem with artists is that people think what we do is a joke.
Facts, right? Big facts.
Until you're a mega, and even at that level, it's still, even with social media, the majors, they get torn down at every
all the time.
Turn of a stone. I think that the problem is we want to get the workout so bad, and we want to be so good at it, and we want it to be so right, that we often sacrifice our own mental health and our emotional well-being for the sake of the work. And our industry, turning down a job is basically asking to not be invited again ever.
Basically, yeah. And that's all the time. Yeah.
Right,
you got to be very smart.
You got to be mindful of what you say and who you say it to. And, even when you go to studios and even in just, doing shows, like, you want to make sure, like, you don't give away an idea and someone steals it and like all that stuff. So we have to advocate, because they're just, like I said, actors, models, no, not even models, actors, cameramen, directors, all the business people in the music industry make way more money than we do.
Thanks.
Way more.
Oh, so true.
Way more.
So true.
There's no way that I have a Grammy Award winning songwriter friend that can't pay her rent, and her agent is sitting high at a house in the Hollywood Hills. Like, that makes no sense to me.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so we have to advocate for the laws. I will say the Music Care Act is being reviewed. It's gonna probably be another year or two before it's actually passed. I just think,
but it's gonna pass. I really believe that that's gonna pass. I got so much faith in that, because there's a lot of changes that's going to be made for artists once that's done. Right. I really believe.
But I feel like the thing is with politicians, especially, once again, because we're artists, they don't think that what we do is immediately
right.
effective.
Until they got to pay.
Kills the world,
They got to book us until they got to book a show.
You know what I'm saying, right? Like, and I just I feel like we just have to start changing the conversation of, being taken seriously as professionals. Artists, we should have health insurance.
Yes.
You're a singer. You should be able to insure your voice. So when you can't,
that's so true. Wow, that's true.
The way a carpenter can insure his hands, a plumber can insure, their truck. It's work.
Y'all better be listening to Derrick Cobb. Listen.
No, you get what I'm saying? Like,
no, you're right.
Why can't you insure your voice? You're a singer. Then you book a show and you can't sing. There should be an insurance policy in place for you, so you can make sure that you
still get paid. That's so true. That is.
I don't understand it. So a lot of it has to change too. But I will say this.
Yes.
It's very unfortunate, but now we live in an era where the new music consumers, they're not used to exchanging money for music.
Right.
They don't know what that is. Right? They have no recollection of, I buy a CD, I buy a song. Their thing is, I can find it on YouTube, I can find it on TikTok, I can get it from, a third party site. And
right.
Even with social media, the way the people who are TikTok famous are using sound bites from other famous artists.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
and like didn't get nothing from it. So
Nothing. That's true. That's true.
Nothing. Not a dime, and it has to change. It has to change immediately. The thing is, it has to be all of us, and even the majors. Like we gotta honestly, Beyonce and Jay and Rihanna and Nicki, like y'all should be spearheading this conversation. As well, because like it'll just make the world pay more attention.
I love that. Derrick.
And I love them all.
Oh my God. Huh?
I said we love them all, we do.
Oh, period. Yes, most definitely. Most definitely.
Right. It's all of us that are climbing. It'd be better if artists were already there who had that platform, those eyes to say like,
we'll start these conversations.
Like, something needs to happen here. It would be a lot better.
Well, shout out to Derrick Cobb for keeping these conversations going and literally starting something, because I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. So thank you for that. Derrick, we're gonna lighten it up a little bit and we're gonna play a little game. Derrick, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go, Brooklyn, stand up. Here we go.
Stand up.
Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna give you some multiple choices and you just give me the correct answer, okay?
Okay.
Let's get it. All right. There were several Disney films released in the 90s. Which movie is not a Walt Disney release? A, Anastasia. B, James and the Giant Peach. Or C, Muppet Treasure Island.
It has to be Muppets, right? Muppet Treasure Island is not a Disney movie.
No, it was Anastasia. I didn't even watch it.
It's not.
No, it's not. You would think
I could have. You know what? In that Aaliyah song she did for it, when the castle, I was assuming it was a Disney thing. They had like the animation into that.
Aaliyah,
that looked like Disney.
Yeah, okay. That's a good one. That's a good way to look at it. Okay. So this next one is for music. It says, which 90s romantic comedy featured the character of Sam Baldwin? A, You've Got Mail. B, Groundhog Day. Or C, Sleepless in Seattle.
That's definitely between A and C.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say I gotta say You Got Mail. I gotta say A.
It was C, Sleepless in Seattle. you was almost there. Okay, here we go. The next one is, which of these Jim Carrey films was not released in the 90s? A, The Mask. B, Me, Myself, and Irene. Or C, Liar, Liar.
Ooh. The Mask is definitely the 90s. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Period, yes.
Is it Liar, Liar? I feel like that came out in the 2000s.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
I suck.
Come on. I'm gonna get you one. I got you. Look. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Oh, I know you know this one. Okay. Which artist had the most #1 hit songs during the 90s? A, Mariah Carey. B, Whitney Houston. Or C, Madonna.
Well, that's the easiest, Mariah Carey.
Yeah, period. Yep. That's you got that one.
But only because see, this is the thing. People forget that Whitney and Michael were prominent in the mid 80s to into the early 90s. So when the 90s come in, we start to see them take breaks in their careers. Mariah Carey was the 90s artist.
You better drop them facts. Come on, D.
No, seriously, because it's always a conversation. Like Janet Jackson, for example, her career started in the mid 80s. She transitioned into the 90s to be, but a lot of when we get to by the time Whitney Houston did The Bodyguard, she was 3 albums in, 3 world tours. And she was already working a lot.
Somebody asked me today, they was like, was Whitney in? I said, first of all, don't even go there. They were about to ask me if Whitney was in The Bodyguard. We're not gonna even go there, bro. I was like, she was on the soundtrack and she was like the main character. Anyway.
Right, which the soundtrack became a best-selling album, which got her a couple Grammy.
Period.
There's so much. I think what you see, because then she had Bobby Christina a couple of years after, like.
Listen.
So it's like,
Okay, last one. Okay, last one. Yeah. You ready?
Yes, I should get this one.
Listen, here we go. Which celebrity popularized the hairstyle known as the Rachel? A.
The what?
The Rachel. A. Ellen DeGeneres. B. Anne Hathaway. Or C. Jennifer Aniston.
My girl, Jennifer Aniston.
You better believe it. See, we got to end on a good note. What? It's so true. D-Cobb, we could go on and on, but listen, let me tell you, you have made my entire day, and I'm so serious. Listen, keep making amazing music. I can't wait to see you out on tour, honey, because I know you're finna eat up for the gods. Listen, hands down. And when we come to LA, we're gonna come holler at you. And I look forward to seeing you again. This is definitely not gonna be the last time. Yes, we will definitely be seeing you.
If you guys are coming in town, please let me know. I don't know if you guys like to go out or party or whatever, but like
he's trying to go out for drinks right now. Listen, Derrick Cobb is in the building in Iconix Radio, guys. It's your girl, Michel Rose. I gotta end this because me and you gotta talk, okay? But guys, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Keep making music. 2-time Grammy nominated singer, writer, performer, live entertainer, one of the hardest working men in the industry, Mr. Derrick Cobb. Keep going on. We're gonna be. No, thank you for talking. Thank you for coming by and talking with us. And we'll see you soon. It's your girl, Michel Rose, Iconix Radio. Derrick Cobb, Izzy.